Coming up on the next episode of the Celsius Pod.
It's not his favorite show.
It is by far not my
It's
favorite
his
show.
favorite
no.
show in the history of television.
No.
It's the Night
not
at the
true.
Roxbury of television.
It's so good. Yeah, of course. You thought Godzilla and Kong were gonna lose? This is a monsters film.
I thought you were talking about the Lighthouse and how you had a crush on like the mermaid.
So the next thing I watched was At World's End.
Oh.
Nikola is back.
Wow, the man himself.
Yep,
Guys,
I'm
this
back.
is
Officially,
Legend.
last episode was just a fluke. It actually isn't even me. I was just zooming in.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah,
am officially
actually real
back
welcome
Yeah, the
to
last
the
episode.
recap episode.
for a real episode.
But
And
Nicola,
this one,
before we get started into our Nikola things, you started school. So how was your first days?
ooh, first
Oh,
week
yes.
of school. So the first 3
wait for it.
days. First of all, great to be a senior because I can stop really caring.
You're not
Uh,
even in college
but
yet, and you're taking AP Physics,
At the
bro.
same time,
You said
yes,
I am
taking
AP Physics.
I am taking AP Calc first period. Then I have a second period prep, and then a third period AP Physics,
Mm.
and then fourth period photo.
What's great about
and then
AP
I
Physics
have-
is you can skip it. So on Tuesdays,
Yeah.
you can go watch movies with us.
Yeah. I have fifth period auto, I have sixth period film comp, and I have seventh period econ. All my teachers are actually great. Except my photo class sucks because I think there's one other senior in that class. Everybody else is either a freshman or those super obnoxious 0.5 GPA activity people that are constantly trying to fuck with the teacher and are just not tolerable at all. I really hate them.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys, Nicola?
Last year also with my
I'm not one of those
digital
people.
art
I'm an
being
academic
completely
weapon. I
frustrating.
have actual good grades. I have never missed a day of class. I have never intentionally skipped school. I have always been on time. I've always maintained good grades. I'm a model student.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how my school is.
Mm.
So that's how it is. Now let's get on to the important stuff. I've been gone for basically 2 months, a little bit over 2 months. And when I left, the most recent thing we had watched was Muppets, Furiosa, and If. So for the viewers back home, go back to that episode to see their review on it, because now it's finally time for my review.
Furiosa.
So I'm gonna start with none of those and the actual thing I watched first,
Yay.
which was the Signal TV show.
No.
The Signal?
Yes, this was the German film the German show that I watched on Netflix before I left to Europe.
Wow.
And it was actually really good. Let me read my. I don't have to read my letter.
No, Nicola, please pull up the Wikipedia summary of each individual episode.
I'm not pulling out the Wikipedia summary this time because instead I got the Letterboxd review.
He just pop off on Letterboxd for all these and wrote 8 paragraphs.
Because I do actual reviews. I think because I've seen what you guys do for your reviews, and I'm like, what's the point of writing reviews if we're not actually
podcast,
reviewing
Nicola. If people want to hear our opinions,
Yeah,
we have a lot longer than a couple paragraphs that we talk about it.
I can just do both. Okay.
You can do both, except he kind of only does one.
Okay, so the show is really good. I remember it was shot really nicely, and it was also just put together well. The editing was always great.
What's
It
the
had a
show
really good-
about?
Okay, fine. Let me explain it.
All
So
right.
basically, it's this German couple with a deaf kid, and the wife is an astronaut. She goes up to the ISS, and at one point in her observational studies when she's doing experiments, she's listening out into space, and typically you can hear all the radio frequencies that are emanating off of Earth. But there's this one period when you're directly above the Atlantic Ocean where there's it's a dead zone. There's no radio coming from Earth, and it's completely silent. But while they were in the middle of that zone, the antenna ended up pointing out into space, and they heard a voice, I think it was a little girl saying hello repeatedly. And she recorded she recorded that, and I was kind of going crazy. But actually, I might actually have to pull up the Wikipedia, the fucking
No.
Wikipedia, because I cannot remember much more than that. But so because there's an entire other plot of that. So because it begins with them actually returning to Earth, and the wife almost okay. Now I remember. So
You remember?
the wife. So it begins with the wife and the co-pilot coming back down from the ISS. They're re-entering orbit, and she almost doesn't open the parachute. She just she's like, maybe I'll, but then at the last second she actually does open it, and you can tell that they're both kind of freaked out, and she's kind of out of it for some reason. Then she's calling the to the husband and the kid when she's like, okay, I'm getting on the plane. I'll see you guys soon. And then they're waiting in the airport, and the plane has gone missing. The plane just disappeared.
Ooh.
So that's kind of interesting.
A real Malaysia flight 737.
Basically. So, give me 1 second. give me like 30 seconds. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember what happens next.
That could be the type of guy to say 30, 29, 28.
Yeah, he would be that kind of
I
guy.
could do that.
So, not the 2007 film.
We all know
the 2024
what happened
show.
with Silo, and we definitely don't want a repeat of that.
We don't.
I'm going to be a lot faster. I'm just using this to remember what happened actually for myself. Okay, they don't have a Wikipedia article about it. So I'm going to have to just wing it.
Bro's gonna have to wing it.
Okay, there's a chance I might not have to wing it. Let me see. I'm not signed into Netflix. I'm gonna have
Oh
to
my
wing it.
god.
Okay. So, plane goes missing. Mom and dad and daughter are like really concerned. They're like, what is happening? They're all trying to get information. Everybody is freaking out. The mom had sent the dad some coded message, and they're trying to figure it out. A bunch of people stuff. Then the black box comes out, and it sounds like the mom. It sounds like the mom caused the plane to crash. Meanwhile, we're getting flashbacks to like when she was on the spaceship, and when she was on the ISS, she heard the voice. She also started hallucinating bugs crawling underneath her skin and going in and out of her.
Like,
And there's like bugs crawling around the ISS. So aliens, or she's just schizo, who knows. So that's all happening, and the parent, and then the on Earth, the dad and the daughter are still trying to figure out what's happening.
Right.
When they go to like the director of the space agency, and just as the dad goes to visit his house, because they were talking, and the guy was like, oh, I found something. And then he goes to his house, and then when he goes to his house is abandoned and he's missing. So something is happening to these people. Everybody that's like trying to look into it. Then it turns out the co-pilot guy was kind of, I think he was drugging and trying to steal the evidence of the aliens, because he basically gaslit the wife into thinking that she never actually heard anything, and she was just going crazy because she used to be, I think, addicted to drugs.
Of
And
course.
And he was like thinking like, you're relapsing and you're actually crazy and you should never have gone on this thing. I was basically gaslighting her, all because they both work for this Indian billionaire, some private space agency, and she wanted to take all the credit for it to begin with.
Is that
So-
flooding you back, an Indian billionaire?
Yeah,
This
So,
plot is
yeah,
going
much
in
earlier
very
now.
weird directions.
yeah. So it's because this is a really bad retelling because I cannot remember this well
Yeah.
enough because I watched this 3 months ago. So the mom is like confirmed dead because she died on the plane. But then the entire time, eventually we figure out that the thing is maybe that like everybody finds out, okay, there's aliens, and we found out exactly when they're gonna land, except the UN convened and said, we're not ready for aliens, so we're gonna fucking nuke them the second they land.
No.
So that happens. There's the like exact because they did science thing because they could see how quickly the like how much louder the voice was getting, so they could tell how quickly and like when it was going to touch down and where. She was able to calculate using physics. So they basically she gave a fake time to the government, and then she gave a fake time to the co-pilot, who then gave it to the person who again gave it to the government, and the government was like, okay, we're blowing the aliens up. And that's probably and other than that scene where they bomb it and the bomb looks really out of place because the CGI wasn't great for it, other than that, really good show. Best part is we find out why the plane actually exploded is because the coworker of the billionaire put a bomb on the plane, so that she couldn't tell the real story.
Mm.
And that happened, but then the billionaire was going to execute the dad and the deaf daughter.
Not the deaf
deaf
dancer.
But the coworker, whatever, what the fuck is the name of it? It doesn't matter. Coworker, assistant, finally gains a heart and pretends to kill them, but doesn't. So pretends to kill them. So they lie in the desert for a couple days, and then eventually they get the actual time it was arriving. And when the actual time arrives, you know what it was?
What?
It was just the fucking Challenger 2 space probe. And you know the golden record on it that has recordings of every language on Earth saying hello? It was just stuck repeating the first English voice saying hello again and again. That's what they were hearing.
Wow.
It wasn't like an alien imitating. But what I find really funny is that the freaking billionaire killed 241 people and the person's wife it just happened. It was just the Challenger 2 space probe.
Oh.
But it's supposed to be it's still kind of a good thing because we know that someone or something sent the probe back. So there is some probably aliens still that did it. So because that's sad. So yeah.
So what is the main kind of messaging of the show? Is it like a metaphor for?
It's very much. I wouldn't say it's a metaphor, but I think the message is very much about
anti-capitalism.
No, it's more about how science should be. It's very much about accepting aliens. I don't know. I haven't watched this in a long time. I really recommend watching it. I remember it was really good. I think even though it's in German, you have subtitles. It's really good. It was a really good film. I really recommend watching it. Genuinely, I want you guys to all go and start watching it after this podcast. It was really good.
I'm asking this for Beck. Does it have a dub?
I don't know if it has a dub, and I don't have an Netflix account, so I cannot check anymore.
Terrible.
But it is goated. All right, the next thing to talk about is what we watched in theaters before leaving.
Yeah.
Muppets. The original Muppets movie, 4.5 stars. This movie is technologically and cinematically.
You're saying it right. I don't know why you're repeating it.
Technologically and cinematically advanced.
I don't mean cinematic. No, I mean sorry, cinematic. No, I'm cinematically.
Yeah. It was super fun to watch, and it was super well put together. The songs were great. The story was great. It was just overall a banger film. That's why I gave it 4.5 stars.
And they didn't like it.
Really I thought it was.
I thought it was terrible.
I didn't think it was terrible.
Beck hated
it was a
the
fine movie.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's a fine movie.
Now, do I start with Furiosa or do I start with If?
Start with the better one.
Okay, I'm starting with If.
No.
No.
They're both. I've rated them both 3 stars. So for me, my opinion of If is I watched it as okay. This is a kids movie, and keep in okay. I'll get to the
kids movie.
I'm gonna get to the airplane movie at the very end.
The
airplane story and the airplane movie at the very end. So If is very much, it's a kids movie. I watched it thinking, how much would kids like this? And I think it's a really good kids movie. I think kids would really like this. I think it is actually it's put well together. It's shot really well for a kids movie, and the story is pretty good for a kids movie. So I think it was overall good for kids. Furiosa I went watching that saying, how good is this as a Mad Max movie? And it is not as good as a Mad Max movie because it just is not as good. There's less driving and less action and too much talking. The action is just not on par with Mad Max Fury Road. And if you say anything otherwise, you're literally coping.
Have you seen the other Mad Maxes?
Yes, I have. And they're also peak.
Beck, I just want you to know that Furiosa driving scenes are as good as Borderlands.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
fucked
gonna lie.
up.
That's
That is
true. No,
the
that's
Borderlands
true.
driving was about the same.
That's fucking crazy to say.
As I said in my Furiosa,
You're
The scene
telling
in
me.
Gastown.
yeah, and unironically, I was actually falling asleep during the Furiosa movie. It was so boring to
Aiden,
me.
I cannot believe you
Nothing was
have that
happening.
take. That's crazy to me.
By far, absolutely nothing was fucking happening in Furiosa for the longest time. It was so stretched out. I was absolutely falling asleep in the theater. So that's my Furiosa review.
I was
Nice.
falling asleep just because I was tired because we watched it
Yeah.
before. We watched Furiosa first.
Yeah.
Sure. Next is the movies I watched on the plane to Serbia.
You watched
So-
Saltburn in front of a family.
The
I
first
like it.
thing I watched was Ferrari.
It's
That's
Ferrari.
the one where he like kills 18 pedestrians, right?
Yeah, that is.
I
that's
keep
like
seeing
the
that
final
clip.
scene.
He
It's
like
really
hits a
funny.
small pothole, and like a rocket explodes, and he like kills 18 pedestrians.
No, what happens is he hits a rock. It ruptures his tire. He hits like a sharp rock that punctures
Yeah,
his
but he
tire.
like
and
goes
because the tire
so
blew
flying
out.
in the air. It's like crazy.
Yeah, that is my one critique of the movie. The physics makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, wait.
Every single crash in this movie just defies physics, and the cars just turn into airplanes and fly off.
I like
It
it.
just they do not make sense. It's super funny to watch, but it's so bad. Other than that, it's really good. Like I really like the story is pretty good. All the like acting is really good. I think I don't know the history well enough to know if it's historically accurate. Yeah, there you go. Watch this. See, he hits it.
This
Wait
is
for it.
long.
This is the same
Look.
shot.
There you
He
go.
slightly touches
Punctures the
it.
tire. He punctures the tire, and then he just
Oh my god!
Why is this like a
dude.
car safety ad?
and then it just kills everybody.
That's awesome, dude. How does that happen?
And that's every single crash in the movie. Every single crash is like that.
Vroom.
It's so good. It's so good. But other than that, yeah, I also wrote that they throw all physics out the window and really take away. Yeah, the crashes throw all physics out the window and take away from the movie. But other than that, the story, the characters, the cinematic is just like it's a really good film, especially if you like cars, which I do. So I liked it.
I like
Um,
movie cars.
The next thing I watched was the Ballad of
Songbirds and
and
Snakes.
I've seen that one.
Let's go.
I don't know if you've seen this movie, but something happens in the third act.
He gets a buzz cut.
Oh, he
I
does.
gets a buzz
He
cut.
fucking gets the Nikola cut.
I know he was
Oh.
literally
More like Nicola
copying.
got the Cornelius Snow cut.
Why did you want to
But I
get
actually
the
re-
cut of the dictator? Is what I'm thinking.
because
Nicola's the most dictatorly person I know.
what are you talking about? So I really liked Ballad of Songbird and Snakes.
I really
think
liked
the,
it too. It was a good
I
movie.
think the story, the acting, everything was actually really good. I actually really did quite like it. So I recommend watching that one as well. It was really good. It made me want to get a bleach buzz cut. I just got a buzz cut. I never bleached it because I think it looks better just buzzed than bleached.
Well, we never
Uh,
know.
I'm not. Yeah, maybe. The next thing I watched would be Death on the Nile. 'cause this
Ooh,
is
I've
like
seen
my
this.
This is like
Mm.
my airplane movie. I've watched this before, but it's been long enough that I don't remember the twist perfectly. Except by the time I got halfway through the movie, I remembered the twist.
Great.
But it's like I would say it's an average murder mystery film.
Yeah.
I always like how murder mystery films have the slow pace until everything accumulates at the end. And Death on the Nile and what's the other one? Not the Polar Express. The
Polar
other one, the
Express,
one
yeah.
where the train.
The Polar
Don't-
No,
Express,
it's the
yeah.
it's like
I
the
don't know.
sequel to Death of the Nile.
It's technically it's like a prequel and a sequel because
It's the
that
same
one
like
ends-
the main detective character.
It's the same main detective, and that movie ends with somebody saying, "There's been a death on the bloody Nile," except that doesn't make sense because the death happens during
the
this
thing.
one.
Yeah.
But then I'm pretty sure if I remember, this movie ends and they said, "There's been a death on the bloody Polar Express." No, it's not.
Murder
Yeah,
on
then,
the
but I-
Orient Express.
Murder on the Orient. Both of these films are good. I really like the main detective in them.
Yeah.
But they're both like kind of average murder mysteries.
And
I
they're
kinda-
just like nice like murder mysteries. They're not complex at all.
yeah.
I've heard of Murder on the Orient Express. Is that one good? Because I've
Yeah,
heard a lot of good things.
both of them,
about it.
Death on the Nile and Orient Press are both really good murder mysteries.
Nicola,
I
I'm
would say
wondering.
Death on the Nile is worse than Oriental Express, though.
So you have Nicola. For me, I've been finding that I'm having more trouble watching movies on planes. But it's interesting to see that you have like a temperament to watch like a lot of movies on planes.
Yeah, because I like to not sleep on long plane rides because I think that's how I adjust. I try to stay awake the entire plane ride so that by the time I get to the country and I'm exhausted and I just force myself to stay awake until it's nighttime in the country. And then I go to sleep and I'm already exhausted and then I just adjust because now I'm so tired I can actually easily fall asleep on time. It's
Smart.
a fun
Smart.
trick to skip jet lag. So that's what I try to do. I just try to stay awake. So the next thing I watch, and this will come back later, is I watched Godzilla Minus One.
Ooh,
I really like this one because it definitely returns to the
best
to the,
VFX Oscar.
yeah, and I definitely see how it gets it. It has really good VFX, and there's actually going to be a sequel to it. By the way,
Minus
that I didn't
two?
realize. I think it's going to be Godzilla Zero,
Mm.
Why is it called -1?
because I think this is like kind of like the prequel to Zero, where it's like kind of setting up Godzilla. Because
In the first movie?
no, this is its own universe. This is the Godzilla Minus One universe.
And so
But
it's,
this one is really good.
it's different
And I
from
really
it's
like
different from the main
yeah.
monsters universe, right?
It's not related to the monsters universe at all, and I really like it because instead of Godzilla just being some protector of Earth, Godzilla has returned to being an analogy for nuclear war.
Right.
So I really like it. I think it's a really good depiction of Godzilla. I think the story is really good, and the kind of this questions. I didn't realize I'd left these questions because I recently watched a video about like the biology of Godzilla, and it told me about this like post credit scene in it that I missed, and that's like gonna go up in the next movie where it's like there's some new radiation like Godzilla hybrid thing where like because in one scene, Godzilla, it's not Tokyo, but it's just some major Japanese city. It just completely obliterates it because its atomic breath is literally just a nuke in this movie. Like it's not just like it's like a beam, but the second the beam hits, it's like a hydrogen explosion.
Great.
So that happens, and then like black tar gets rains out of the sky. But apparently that black tar is also connected to because the video I watched was like the biology of Godzilla, because in the beginning of the movie we see like a small Godzilla before nuclear testing that the main character sees on an island during World War II, and this is like the idea is that's like an alligator style, like it never evolved, it's from dinosaurs, it lived deep in the ocean, it came up and it was just native to that region, and then nuclear testing happened and that's what made it to evolve. And the idea is that the atomic blast is actually, and because it gets rapid healing, its main power in this movie is it has like super fast healing. And another thing it has is the idea is that the atomic breath, because of the way that the spines like shoot out and then in to prep it. In this version of Godzilla, the idea is the atomic breath is actually spinal fluid, and that's why the people after it explodes, the people get like part Godzilla DNA on them, and it's like starting to take over their body or something. That's like the post-credit scene. That's like the ending of the movie, and that's like alluding to the next movie. And that's gonna come back later. So then after that, I actually watched the first season of Narcos.
Ooh,
Oh.
I've seen all of Narcos. It's good.
Yes,
I've seen like the first
So-
episode of Narcos.
I said
Beck
it was
could
a very good.
not Beck could not watch it because it has too much Spanish speaking
No,
people.
it was because I really
No,
liked
he
the
doesn't like
first.
those
I liked the first episode because it was going for this whole like historical thing, like explaining like the history of all
fun
that.
fact: the movie is not that the two main characters didn't actually show up in real life until like the second season. In reality, like towards the second season is when in real life they actually showed up. The entire like first season they were actually in Miami still.
Yeah,
I just
still,
And you know the who's the name, the
Javier
general.
Peña.
No, the general, the one that like threw the people out of the helicopter.
I'm rough.
He throws people out of helicopter. He dies, I think, in the end of season 1. He is technically not a real character, but he's based off of a character that's introduced in season 2. Who in season 2, the guy it's named after the real guy, and that guy is like by the book, he's nice, but there's like allegedly cases that he like actually did those crimes where like he executed people without trial and threw them out of like and tortured people. But to circumvent it in the show, they just made it 2 different people.
Mm.
That way, the person, because there wasn't there's not actual evidence, but there was a lot of people's tales about. There's a lot of tales from people around that time. And another fun fact is in season 2, when they finally do kill Pablo Escobar, it actually perpetrates.
No, thanks.
Yeah,
Dude.
it perpetrates the myth.
I didn't know Weird Al.
It perpetrates the myth that the guy, what's his name, the main character, was there during the killing of Pablo. He actually wasn't. He was somewhere else. Only the actual people that worked at the country killed him, but he was nearby, and then they called him, and then he came over for the photo.
Oh yeah.
And then because of that photo, everybody thought he was there for the entire police chase, but he wasn't actually. But in the show, they actually have him be there for the police chase, so they kind of perpetrate it. But either way, it's a really good show, and I mean, I can see why they made those historical changes just to make it a good show.
Yeah.
But it's a really good show. I really liked it.
It's a good show, but I really think they kind of hit their stride with the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I was really confused why they decided to make not even that. Why they decided to end season 1 where they did. Like, why wouldn't they do the entire Pablo Escobar story in 1 season? Because we're kind of left kind of on a cliffhanger at the end of season 1, and then it just starts in the next season with just oh, he escaped.
Yeah. And they do this even weirder thing where they take a kind of a minor character. I get it's not really minor.
Well, no, because that's historically kind of what did happen. Is after Pablo Escobar, the rest was just about getting the California.
Yeah, but I feel like it just kind of I watch watch another show for that then.
Yeah, true.
But, man, does that intro hit for Narcos?
Yeah, I love that song. And then have you watched Narcos Mexico? Because I might start that.
I watched the first episode but I never continued. I might watch it again.
I might watch it too. So the next thing I ended up watching was Fury Road.
Yo.
So I remember because I wanted to see how much better it was than Furiosa. So much better. Non-stop action. The first 10 minutes is one of the best intros of all times. Goated film. Benchmark for an action film. Absolutely goated. Peak cinema. I love this film. I absolutely recommend watching it. Next thing I watched is The Beginning of Hell. And that would be Kong Skull Island. My beginning of my venture into the Monsterverse.
God, guys.
While we did our Ruby arc, he did the Monsterverse arc.
Yep.
I'm looking at his fucking letterbox and I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
He watched so
many films.
Technically, I wanted to watch them in chronological order, but 3 of the stuff that's chronological order was an animated Netflix show, and I didn't have access to Netflix, and just an Apple TV movie that I also did not have access to. So I skipped those 2 and basically just watched the main films. Kong Skull Island, pretty average film. I would say it's better than the original Godzilla. I think even though it's not it kind of suffers from not being the first film because they kind of expect you to already know what some of the stuff is because they introduce it in Godzilla, and they expect you to already know it because this is the second movie that came out.
True.
But even then, it's a pretty good film, and I do really like it. And because you get to see Big Monkey fight Big Lizard, and that's fucking awesome.
Big Lizard.
That's fucking awesome, man. I love it. It's so cool. Next thing I watched was Godzilla. So, Godzilla, I should say, is another average movie. I gave both the King Kong and Godzilla 3 stars, but I would say King Kong is a little bit better than Godzilla, but not enough to warrant a half a star or another star.
I haven't seen Godzilla, but I know that they do this really weird thing where they have this really interesting character with Bryan Cranston, but then they just kind of kill him off or something like that, right? Is he?
Oh, right. So the beginning of the movie is you're following Bryan Cranston, and he was probably the most interesting character he was probably the most interesting character. He was he ran the plant the nuclear plant with his wife when the Mudo attacked, and then the entire plant collapsed basically around him, and he had a trap, and he personally had to seal his wife into the seal the wife into the blast and leave her to die. I mean, it's she was telling him to do it, but at the same time, that's still kind of fucked up.
No, that's fine.
And then
and then later on, he's constantly going around the radiation area. It's not actually irradiated, and trying to find out what actually happened. When he finally goes back to the facility, and he's I know everything that's happening, and they go him, and then the Mudo wakes up, and he gets killed by the Mudo.
That's fine.
So then we follow his son for the rest of his character, and his son is much more of a nothing character. So I understand why they killed him off, but at the same time, it's like I would have so much rather followed him than the son. The son was such a more boring character than him, and I think it's just also because like the actor that plays the son is like playing like it's just not good for that role. Like he's a good actor.
Yeah, Aaron
but
Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, he cannot play like an army soldier like ex-marine whatever. But whatever. The dad was fucking phenomenal. It was a good film. I like it. It's a good introduction. Then I had a small gap in my watching of the Monsterverse where I watched another peak film. One thing that I'm really pissed off about this film is Beck's rating for it.
Oh my god. Dude, I gave it 3.5.
500 Days of Summer.
He's literally me.
Movie is so fire. 3.5 stars does not give it justice, Beck.
Wow. You gave it 4 stars. It's a half-star difference.
Yeah. I would say it's a minimum 4-star film.
Yeah, this is like one of the actually good rom-coms that I've seen.
It's a really good
an
film.
actually good rom-com.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk
Shut
about
up,
that.
Aaron. Shut the fuck up.
Here's my question for you, Beck, because I'm curious what you think about it. Actually, you guys have all watched 500 Days of Summer,
I haven't. I wanted though.
Okay, then just Beck.
Yeah.
Who was in the wrong? Who was in the right between Summer and the guy? I think your answer on this is gonna very affect my opinion on you.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Summer's in the right.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say they're both wrong.
They're both.
They're
okay, yeah,
both
they
in the wrong.
Both wrong. I thought you were
absolutely
like
absolutely. The Summer was very clear that she did not want an actual relationship, but the guy still went into it. That being said, Summer knew he was actually interested in her and continued to lead him on, knowing that he was actually invested in her and not actually. And when so she's definitely wrong for that, but he also should have been is in the wrong for not for originally rushing into it. Yeah,
so
for
you're
originally rushing into it.
They would never have succeeded as a couple.
If only there was some other movie Nikola watched where the couple didn't succeed.
Yeah. Then there's another.
I'd say more than they didn't succeed, Beck.
This is not for this episode, guys. Come on.
No, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Maybe.
I'm
so now there's going to be
about that movie, Aiden. I'm talking about Lala Land.
Now there's going to be. Oh my god, there's a very big gap between the rest of the Monsters film. I did not see how big of a gap there was. So the next thing I guess I started watching it. I didn't finish it then, but the next thing would be The Boys season 4.
Yeah,
it was a really good season. The finale was amazing.
I'm gonna say this, Nicola.
Was the best episode of the season.
The finale was really good, but it's the weakest season.
Yeah,
I don't say it's the weak. I don't know if I would say it's.
I think it's the weakest season.
I mean, yeah, but even then, I guess because I'm thinking like it's not the weakest season just because every scene of The Boys is so strong.
Yeah,
that's like the weakest season of The Boys is like it beats like some of the best seasons of other shows.
But I think for me, this season was good, but it got too like
it was
referential.
There was like I feel like there was so much just set up in this season just for season 5.
I mean, yeah, I mean they're building to the final season, so
it
makes sense.
They're just setting everything up for the grand conclusion.
They are doing that, and I felt too many references to like modern politics, like not even like satire. It's just straight references. January 6th, Pizzagate, and there's a lot of just unnecessariness of like Huey just getting assaulted for like
I got sexually assaulted like 8 separate times in the season.
Yeah.
Well, hey, hold on.
So you have a problem with that?
Yeah, you have a problem with the man getting sexually assaulted, but not
the woman getting sexually assaulted.
Not
a good look.
Not at all.
All right. Next thing I watched was Narcos season 2.
It was unnecessary.
That was also I kind of talked about that in my season 1.
Yeah,
during my season 1, but yeah, it was a good season. It's not super historically accurate, but still good. Next thing, Hot D season 2.
Okay, we did get to talk about the finale.
Yeah.
So low key,
House of the Dragon.
Like this season. Yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, Hot D's what?
These nuts.
My only problem
Yeah.
with the finale is you could
I
very
low-key-
easily tell they cut it early. Like they
No,
had
it
like
felt
two
like-
more
it felt
episodes
like an
planned, but they
episode
couldn't
8.
finish them.
It felt like an episode 8 of a 10-episode season.
I know, and that's literally what it was.
No, I 100% understand that. I really like this season though. I think I still like season 1 more than this season.
Yeah, no. I actually have a really. I don't know if this is a
But
hot
I
take.
kind of understand that like season 2 is supposed to be is like kind of like season 4 of The Boys, where it's like it's supposed to be a build up season.
Yeah.
It's trying to build up the actual like big conflict of the war, and that's kind of why I understand why they ended it the way they did. That being said, it's still kind of stupid to do it that
Yeah.
way. It definitely
I mean,
feels like it's missing.
I don't think it was the
Because-
creative choice. It was definitely budget.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I feel like after Rhaenyra's son died at the end of season 1, where Lucerys died from like Aemon killing him. That really should have been the start of the war, but then they kept prolonging it.
Well, if you read the books,
I literally have, but but the thing is, I felt this is my kind of take of the summer. Each season of The Boys, The Bear, and House of the Dragon, they were all the weakest season of the show for me. And
Because they were
wow.
all setup seasons.
I need to watch.
they were
the next
all
couple
setup
seasons.
seasons. They were all setup seasons.
So 2024 is the year of the setup season and the pedophiles.
But the thing is about Hot D season 2.
Am I wrong?
I mean, Nicola, the last episode was a 70-minute trailer for season 3.
Oh my god! Okay, I need
Yeah.
to tell Uri this thing I said, and I'm like, okay, I didn't want to say it, but I had to say it. It came to my mind. It kind of felt like Horizon, like just a giant trailer for all that's happening in the
It
next
did.
thing.
It did. It
It's
did
a
feel like
montage of all the random characters, and I'm like, wait, this
Yeah.
is just Horizon.
I also feel like they're also like differing way too much from like the book. I know the book is only providing a historical account, it's like the more real version. But I feel
Yeah.
like they're differing way too much, and I hate this emphasis that they're focusing on like the future Game of Thrones with like trying to connect it to the future, because we know what happens in the future. I don't care what happens in the future. A Game of Thrones. I want to happen now. And why are they making every single Targaryen being a dreamer? It's supposed to be like a special thing that only a few Targaryens do. They're making fucking Daemon do it. Fucking Helena.
Well, I wouldn't say he's a dreamer. I said he was just tripping on fucking weirwood sap.
Yeah. But they're focusing too much. Like, I don't care that he sees Daenerys in the future. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
I want to focus on now because I feel like if like
Anyway, let's skip this and let's
Yeah.
get to something more interesting. That being, I finished all of Adventure Time. So
Wow,
No.
Aiden gets to finally talk.
now I gotta talk about each episode individually.
Alright, I will be taking a break
I'll
while
be
you get to
going.
do that.
I'm not actually doing that. I'm not actually
Fun.
doing that. Okay, if
No,
he's actually
no,
leaving, then
no,
I'm gonna
can I
actually
ask-
do it.
Can I ask you, do you understand why it's my favorite show after watching
It's
the
a
whole
very much a you show. Yeah, I can understand, especially since you watched it growing up. I can definitely also understand. It's a very nostalgic show, and it's a very.
both nostalgia and like
Bro,
having grown up alone?
Why is this on my feed right now? Why is this the first thing I see when I open Max? What the fuck is this shit? Rick and Morty the anime.
Oh yeah, that came out today.
Is that worth watching?
I will watch it. Hopefully. That's why I keep saying I have like 1,200 things on my watch list
Yeah.
right now because that's what I'm fucking watching.
Either way, Adventure. Okay, I forgot they left, but either way, Adventure Time is peak. It's a good show. It's a really good ending. I really liked it. It's kind of sad that it ends, but it's a really good show.
Great.
What do you think?
Then
of-
I
Just in
watched.
time.
Then I watched Distant Lands. So Distant Lands is also good. I like how it's kind of like a sequel, but at the same time, it's not really. It's
How-
kind of makes it depressing though. But
Why didn't
it's
you
good.
log in
I
on
love it.
Letterboxd? Distant Lands is
Not
like
because
on
it's a show.
Letterboxd.
Oh, I don't care enough to log it. It's a show.
And what did you think like about them reusing the Lich for the 80th time in the one episode?
Of Fiona and Cake.
No,
Oh
with,
no, for that one.
for Distant Lands.
But the Lich is a P character, so I don't really care.
That is true.
Every
Fair
time
enough.
he appears, I'm happy. So
Fair enough.
Loki, I don't really care that he used them again because the Lich is peak.
He is pretty peak.
Is he lying in bed? Is that his? No, that's just his pillow. So then the next thing I watched to wrap up Adventure Time was Fiona and Cake.
Nice.
Also a
And
good show. I hope season 2 comes out so that we can get some more
it comes
Adventure
out
Time.
next year.
Yeah.
Well, good news, Nicola. They are making a movie and another like series, and then a BMO baby show.
Yippee!
So there is going to be lots of Adventure Time content in the coming future.
You know what else there's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of? Avatar
lot of-
content. So you should get caught up on
Wow.
Is
that.
there?
Yeah, the movie's
Is
coming
there?
out next
Yeah.
year.
What movie?
The Avatar movie.
Yeah.
The bad one?
No, the
No,
an
good
animated
one.
Avatar movie with Aang as an adult.
Oh, so basically like the comics are being adapted into a movie?
No, the comics he's still a kid. This is like him in like his 20s. It's after the comics.
Okay.
Do you think he's
Either
going to
way.
die in the movie?
He's not gonna. He's not gonna die
When
in
does
the
he
movie.
die?
We know when he dies.
Yeah. Either way, doesn't matter. Next thing I watched, MasterChef season 10.
I'm gonna fucking kill Nicola.
Why?
Why do you want to talk about reality TV?
What's wrong with?
What do
I'm
you
just talking
have
about
to
what I watched over the
contribute?
summer. What did I watch? I watched something over the summer. I watched MasterChef season 10. You know why? Because Nick Giovanni, #1 food creator on YouTube, was in that season. That was his season. I think he got 3rd place. Fire season. Tempers flared. Gordon Ramsay fucking killed a salmon.
Nice.
They almost gave food poisoning to like 30 celebrities.
I
And
like it.
overall, peak season. And now we get back to the mid. Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh,
So
God,
this is Godzilla 2, basically.
Yeah. So, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Awesome.
So, Uri, you missed Adventure Time, Distant Lands, Fiona and Cake, and a little bit of Avatar.
MasterChef.
Oh, and MasterChef season 10.
Wow, awesome.
Great.
Wow.
Nicola, I think we should
King-
repeat it so Uri can hear about it.
Yeah. So Godzilla King of the Monsters is definitely a worse film compared to the original first two because it has a lot of issues. But the real reason anybody's watching this movie is to see the big dragon fight the big fight the big
obviously.
guy.
True.
And this movie has some of the best ones. So that was pretty peak. I just think it takes a little bit too long to get to those fight scenes. But by the time we do get to the final fight scene, it is goated. And Millie Bobby Brown character is fucking insufferable. I fucking cannot stand that child. It is so annoying. Her entire family is fucking insufferable. I cannot take, and they're all the main characters, and I cannot stand them. I'm like, get rid of these humans and just give me monster fighting. And that's why it's my least favorite one by far.
What if there
Makes
was a movie entirely about two big monsters fighting?
Then yeah. So then the next thing I got was Godzilla vs Kong, and
No
this
way.
entire one was about big monkey fight big lizard, and that's why
monkey
this
fight
is
big lizard.
probably. I mean, Godzilla's a lizard, is he not?
I mean, do they do this thing in a
He's a
versus
Komodo
movie where?
dragon.
Do you do this thing in the versus
Yeah,
movie
Komodo
where?
dragon is basically a lizard.
Do you think in the versus movie where it's like we get the two big guys, but then there's a big villain that the two work together to defeat?
No.
No.
That's
They
the
just
next
fight
movie.
until they fight. Except all of a sudden, it turns out the reason why Godzilla was going sporadic is because the evil billionaire was making Robo Godzilla, and then they team up and defeat Robo Godzilla together.
So yes.
So Uri was right.
Yes. Yes. But then they still beef with each other, but they're like, okay, we chill for the next 5 minutes because you helped me kill this guy. And then Kong rules inner Earth while Godzilla rules the surface. So that's good. Then I watched absolute fucking peak. I watched
Peak.
Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Please talk about La La Land now.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
The first
It's-
one.
You have watched the first one, so I can go
haven't.
more in depth on this one.
Yeah.
This is by far the best one. All of the first three are honestly all the films are still peak, but I would say they gradually get worse. but all the films are absolutely fucking peak. This movie is really good. The humor, and you have to keep in mind this movie came out in 2003, and the sets and the look of everything is so good. It was so advanced for the time. It is so good now.
Beck,
It's a
stop snorting
fucking
cocaine.
amazing fucking film. I love it. The next
Yeah.
thing I watch, now Beck's gonna be really happy about this one.
I think
Beck?
he's dead.
I think you killed him.
Yeah.
Beck, you ready? You ready? You know what I watched next? Dead Man's Chest.
Uh-oh.
You haven't watched any of the other ones, right?
No.
So
Guys,
now I have
he's
to start
gonna
being less
hang
of a pal.
himself.
So this is good. This is also a really good film. I mean, it's the middle one of a trilogy. So if the third movie didn't exist, this one would make no sense. It's like that really shitty Independence Day sequel they made that's like supposed to introduce a larger universe, but they never did. And then it's just this really shitty film because of that. This one is still a good film, but it does really need a third movie. But luckily, there is a third movie, so this is really peak. Also, got to remember, this movie came out in 2006, the year Beck was born, and it has some of the best CGI ever fucking made. CGI genuinely peaked with Davy Jones, and it's goated. And some scenes are just goated. Everything, it's another Pirates movie. It's goated.
Right.
After that, I have to wait for Beck to return because this is a really important one.
Beck.
Beck, it's a very important
Is
film.
it here?
Come
Back.
back.
Are you doing
Come
it?
back. Yeah. You ready?
Beck, you missed it. He talked about it and you weren't here.
I'm here.
He talked about it and you missed it.
Did he fall?
Great.
I'm
So
back.
the next thing I watched was At World's End.
Oh.
This one is like the sequel, is the final of the three. It's another good film. It's kind of like the ending of the trilogy, and it's like the best trilogy. The story of the trilogy is really good. It wraps it up really well. The fights are great. Everything is great. Really good film. I really like it. Still not as good as the first one. Honestly, I'm gonna keep my trend. I'm gonna say they do get slightly worse over time. Pretty good. The next one I watched, don't worry, Beck, it's not a Pirates film. It's another peak film. It's The Lighthouse.
Oh no. The Lighthouse.
Beck, you like the Lighthouse, right?
The Lighthouse? Yeah, Beck hasn't watched it yet. He wants to watch
Is
it.
he frozen?
No, he's just standing still.
Yeah, he's shaking. 'cause
The
he's
Lighthouse is a really peak film. I really like its art style of its like 1.19 to 1 aspect ratio.
Nicola. Hey, Nicola, before you continue, you literally skipped over it. You watched it in between Godzilla vs Kong and A New Empire.
Lala Land?
I've been tracking it. I was waiting.
I know. But you know why I did that as well? It's because I forgot to put it into my actual notes on my actual notes.
Bro,
So I forgot about it. I
about
just skipped
peak.
over it.
Guys, you literally had an argument about the movie in our.
We
in our
had an
server.
argument in the
Okay, that's
general
not
of our
important right
Discord
now.
server.
Right now, we gotta talk about something more important, which is The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is amazing. I love the claustrophobic 1.19 to 1 ratio. I think the acting is fucking superb.
I heard it's really
the
good.
lighting is amazing. The story makes no fucking sense, and that's the point. The Mermussy looks fucking fire. I would also want that if I was stuck on an island for a year.
Wait, what is the Lighthouse about?
Also, if you weren't on an island, you'd still want it.
It's like a psychological horror. Bro wants to fuck a steak. So
This is definitely a
the
Nicola
guy,
movie. He should have watched this with his
William
parents.
William Dafoe has like a really
William?
really kinky relationship with the light in the lighthouse. And he does not let the younger guy go up there at all. He's like, you take care of everything else. I watch the light. And then he masturbates to the light 24/7 and then turns into a squid. So that's peak. They fight. They end up killing each other. Fire dialogue, fire acting, fire everything. It's actually like a must-watch film. This is an absolute must-watch film. Watch this film. I will genuinely drive to your house, pick you guys all up, go to Beck's house, put the projector on, and watch The Lighthouse.
Wait, we can just walk to Beck's house. It's way easier than you picking us up.
I can pick you guys up.
But either way, unironically, yeah, Beck, yeah, we know. But unironically, I do actually want to watch this film with you guys.
I want to watch it. We should do.
It's such a good film. It's actually, I unironically would say this was one of my top 10 films. It is
Really?
so.
You gave it a 4.
Yeah, I gave it 4. Doesn't mean it's on my top 10 films.
Well, what else is in your top 10 films?
So the next thing I watched was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Whoa!
So,
if you have watched one more Pirates movie, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, there's literally one more Pirates movie other than this one.
I know what I'm gonna do.
Films. There's 5 films in the franchise. I'm on the 4th one. This one kind of, I like that it's still kind of, the ending of the 3rd movie actually does lead up to this one. I didn't realize that, but it actually does. And the female character is so fucking bad. Holy shit. And I watched this right.
Is it not Elizabeth Swann?
It's not. It's Johnny Depp's like ex, like in like
Amber
it's like
Heard?
no, it's like Captain Jack Sparrow's ex in the film.
Oh.
Do they?
And it's a Spanish fucking baddie. And
Are Will and Elizabeth just not in the later films?
they're in the last film,
Oh.
but they're not in this film. I don't remember. I don't think they are.
Ah.
You know what's really funny? Barbossa somehow finds his way in every single film, despite dying in the first film.
Congratulations.
He dies in the
Captain
first
Barbossa.
film, and then he's in every other film after that. It's fucking amazing.
The
You know who
whole
else?
his whole thing was that he wanted to die.
Yeah. And you know what else is fire? The
Who?
fact that Jack is in every film as well.
He has to be.
You know, no, both Jacks.
Oh, the monkey.
The monkey's also in every
There's
film
a
because he's always with
monkey?
Barbossa. Bro has never watched any of the Pirates films?
I have not.
Mm-mm.
So, also right after looking at the Mermussi and something really funny about the Lighthouse is so they use like a special filter on the camera to record everybody to make them look like really old and grungy. But the scene where there's the mermaid, they take the filter off, so the mermaid looks like especially beautiful. And the mermaid is like naked in the film. Like there's fucking Mermussi. But it's not like human, so it's interesting. It's a psychological horror film. It's really good. Watch it. But there is better Mermussi on Stranger Tides because this is like actual mermaids.
I see
These
it
are more
on the
sirens.
post. I see it on the poster for the movie.
Yeah. I think my first celebrity crush was actually that mermaid. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
In your
this movie came out
entire
in
life.
2011.
Oh,
I don't know if it's in my entire life, but I do vividly remember watching this film on the TV in my downstairs in my grandparents' house and being like, "Holy shit, that mermaid is hot as hell."
Nice.
Ain't
So
no
yeah,
way.
that's
you
great.
watched this when
Then-
you were like 5?
Probably, yeah.
The Pirates.
The Pirates
movie.
films are
Yeah,
peak.
dude.
What are you talking
Oh, sorry. I
about?
thought you were talking about the Lighthouse still.
No, I was not talking about the Lighthouse. I watched the Lighthouse like a month ago.
Yeah,
The
I know.
Lighthouse came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but-
yeah. I just said it came out in 2011 and you thought I was talking about the
I
Lighthouse?
thought you were talking about the Lighthouse and how you had a crush on like the mermaid.
No.
Beck, go take a walk.
No, because he has to hear this last one. Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Ooh.
This is definitely the worst one. I mean, it's a Pirates film, so it's still good. But I would say this one has the worst writing. Like, the writing is kind of fallen off. Some of the dialogue is very janky in this film. Other than that, it's still a Pirates film, and it's still really good. I really like it.
Is Johnny in that one?
Johnny Depp is still in this one. Yeah. Johnny Depp is in all of them. He's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Mm.
This one is kind of gives like his backstory. It's kind of
Mm.
cool. And if you know anything about Jack Sparrow, he's like abnormally lucky. There's like a theory that he's like cursed with luck. And the idea, I think, with this film is that like his luck has ran out, and that's what sets this into motion. That film
Mm.
is that like he ran out of luck, and that's why. So now for Beck Lions, I think I'll finally do it.
Really?
Really?
Ricky Stanicky.
You watch Peak?
Okay. So
Ricky
La La
Stanicky.
Land. So
Oh.
La La Land is one of the greatest films ever made. Made by the same person that made Whiplash.
Amy
another
and
Peak
Giselle,
film.
my goat. Never,
He
no
is
misses in his entire filmography.
He is
All
so
Peak.
actually.
Not even
Damien
Babylon?
Chazelle is
Even
Daniel
Babylon.
Chazelle
Babylon is peak.
is so fucking good at lighting. It is insane. Color and lighting his peak. Fun fact, he helped with the lighting on Dune 2. That's why the lighting in Dune 2 and color in Dune 2 is also peak.
Nicola
because
found a way to
this
talk
guy-
about Dune 2. Yeah.
This guy is absolutely peak at cinematography and like lighting and colors. This movie is so good. It's such a beautiful story. It's such a good acting, such a good music, such good cinematography, such good lighting. Did I mention this movie has amazing lighting and cinematography
And music.
and lighting
And
and
music.
colorization?
What about lighting?
Music.
And I think this movie had really good lighting. Either way, absolutely peak film. This would probably go into my top 3. Number 2 would probably be Dune 2. Number 1 would be Night at the Roxbury's, of course, because we know
Yes.
that this is my favorite film of all time.
Hey,
Thanks
you
to the
can't
podcast.
change it.
Nicola and Beck, I have a
Alright,
question.
What
So
about the ending?
debate this, please. Debate this. Does La La Land
he's just
have a
gonna-
happy ending?
So Nicola is like, this film is like so happy. Not a single thing is sad.
That's not what I'm. Okay, you do not understand what I'm saying. Then I'm saying I'm thinking of this like objectively, thinking in the big picture of the course of the entire movie and the future of these two people. This was like the happiest ending they could have.
It was not.
It was a very melancholy moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's happy because he accepts that she has a good life, and she accepts that he has reached his dream, and he accepts that she has reached her dream, and they're happy. And even though it's melancholy in the moment that they didn't end up together, it's happy because they both achieved their dreams and they're happy for each other.
Yeah,
And that's why I think it's a happy ending. because
we
they're happy
agree.
for
You
each
were
other.
you were not saying that in the channel. I was saying it's a
That's literally what I was
it's a
saying.
bittersweet ending because they both achieved their goals, but they couldn't do it together.
Okay, then I don't know how to explain
No,
it.
it does
'cause
the
I'm not
exact
putting in
same
good enough
thing.
words.
No,
not putting in
the
good enough
fact
words,
that they
Taylor.
didn't get together isn't what's making it.
Yeah,
It's
All
sad
right.
that they didn't get together.
but not
He's-
really because they
he's
never
saying it's
would have
literally
worked
not.
together.
Well,
Yeah, I'm saying it's not sad that they didn't
Imagine
get
there was a
together.
universe where they did get together and they both
And it
achieved
wouldn't
their
have worked,
dreams.
is what
It wouldn't
he's
work
saying. It
out.
wouldn't work.
If it would have worked out, it would have happened.
But like, imagine there was a universe where it could happen.
It's so stupid to think
That's
about
a different.
what if.
That's a different movie, Beck. You're talking about
Yeah.
a different movie,
Bro, it is. This is my issue with it. It's so stupid to think about what ifs, and it's like, sure, it's sad to think about what ifs, but it's a what if. It's not real. In reality, it's happy because they both got their endings. They never would have really worked
But it
together.
is
And
sad
what
that they
happened-
couldn't do it
What
together.
happened, but they never could have. They never could have. If they could have, they would have.
That's just how it
Hey,
works, Beck.
Even
Becca just doesn't
even
understand.
if they couldn't, it's sad that they couldn't. You know?
Yeah. Now it's time to end the saga.
No,
Godzilla
you
X
forgot to talk
Kong.
about Ricky Stanicky.
No, I'm going back. I'm gonna do what I did to La Land.
He's
with Ricky
edging me.
Stanicky. The
No.
way I did with La Land.
He's edging me with Ricky Stanicky.
Broke straight cranking that hog.
Yeah.
Okay, Godzilla X Kong fire movie. Story's kind of lost a bit, but I like that they no longer have Millie Bobby Brown. We just got fucking big monsters fighting.
Wait, so
And
there's
that's
Godzilla versus Kong, and then
awesome.
there's Godzilla X Kong?
Yeah, because now they're not fighting. Now they're working together.
That one's porn. Right? Godzilla X Kong.
Because now they gotta fight the evil monkey who
Ugh.
has the evil ice spirit.
No.
Well, the evil ice Godzilla. And the evil ice Godzilla fights the real Godzilla, and the evil monkey fights the real monkey. And then they fight, and and there's a really graphic scene that they get away with because it's technically monkeys, and there's no like real blood, but he completely freezes the evil monkey and shatters him. So if you think about it in reality, that's low-key fucked up.
So he
Mm.
won.
But at the same time, it's so good. Yeah, of course. You thought Godzilla and Kong were gonna lose? This is a monsters film.
Yeah, Beck.
But Loki, it was a really enjoyable because now they finally figured out the core audience wants monsters fighting and not humans. So
Yeah, I think
it's
that's been
fine.
like a big error of the earlier parts of the franchise.
Yeah. So I guess that's really all I've been watching.
Eh.
Oh wait, we watched a couple things recently. I watched Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
definitely the best Marvel movie
Guys,
of
do you like
yeah.
my Deadpool shirt that I
Yeah.
got?
This is definitely the best
Wow.
Marvel movie in recent times. It has the best intro of any Marvel movie, I think. It's by far the funniest Marvel movie. I would
High
say it's my
praise.
second favorite Marvel movie ever.
Really?
My first one will always be Infinity War, but then this would be my second favorite.
I think for me, like my top 5 favorite Marvel movies: Infinity War, Spider.
Yeah, but I don't know. I
Isn't
think
really a
for
Marvel movie.
For me, I wouldn't say because Spider-Verse isn't really MCU.
Yeah.
Are we
I'm thinking
doing
like
are we doing
MCU.
like what types of Marvel? Like X-Men Marvel?
I'm thinking like
Every-
MCU.
Everything?
Like
Okay, if we're
MCU.
talking about MCU,
I'm
then
talking
it'd be
about
like
MCU.
Infinity War, Guardians 3, Deadpool 3.
I actually have a list for this.
I'd
Yeah.
say
But that's not
maybe
important. Let's
Ragnarok.
get.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with my whole spiel, so let's finish.
I would
it
say
up.
like Civil War and like the Avengers and
So,
Endgame and
right.
Infinite War.
I guess the next thing I'm going to talk about is the plane story. So,
Plane.
on the way back, I was again doing my tried and true method of staying awake the entire time.
You raw dog.
So, we had this thing where we were right behind Economy Plus, which means we even though we don't have the Economy Plus seats, we still get the flip up monitors, and we get super big legroom, but we don't get all the benefits of Economy Plus because we're still just normal economy, but we just get super big legroom. Issue is, I gotta watch one movie that 12-hour flight. That movie being Ricky Stanicky.
Yeah.
Aiden's not movie of the year anymore.
Yeah, I've watched this and I recommended it to my parents one day. Okay, let me just get to it. I watched it. It's a really good comedy. Probably the best comedy that's come out recently.
Yeah. But can you see why it's Aiden's
Not
favorite movie?
of the year.
Yeah.
Absolutely not
No.
movie of the year. Nothing about
No.
this film makes it movie of the year.
Nothing.
But yeah, I
Aiden's
get it.
so
I recommended it
sad
to my
right
parents
now.
and they had the same opinion.
Well,
They
yeah,
said
but at the
not
point
movie
that
of the
I
year.
had watched it, the only other movies I'd seen that year were Argyle and Madam Web.
Not Dune 2?
Dune 2.
He
saw
put it
Dune.
above Dune 2.
Okay. Oh yeah, also it's really fucked up in the post-credit scene that they gave the cancer patients the ginger wigs. Because you know the person with the super long hair, they're ginger and they donated their hair, but they're ginger.
Yeah,
It's like Loki fucked up.
fucked up, dude.
Okay, now let's talk about the rest of it. So, after finishing that one film, my monitor went actually not just my monitor, everybody in my row's monitor went black, and it
Right.
said, "Please wait" in like default text, and then it went black again and did not turn back on.
Great.
And I kept touching it, and it did not turn back on. I was like, okay, that sucks. I will wait a little bit and see if it fixes itself. I waited. I looked at some of the stuff the people around me were watching. Somebody was watching some Bollywood movie. I have no clue what it was called, but it was about this guy who like met the girl of his dreams, but his job is like breaking up couples. Like his job is like making breakups, but like putting the blame on the other person. And then like while he was doing that, he became rich, but then he met the love of his life, but then his love of his life hired him to break up with himself and put the blame on himself. And for some reason, this retard could not figure it out at all, even though it's his wife's voice or his fiance's voice. He could not figure out that it was his fiance.
And you got this just from watching someone else's screen.
Yeah, no, she had subtitles on. I think that's, yeah, because it was in Indian, so she had English subtitles on. So,
How do you know it was not? How did you know it wasn't in English?
because I can lip read.
Okay, fair.
So so anyway, it was in English, subtitles, and it was an interesting. I never got to see the ending of it because I wasn't paying attention. By the time because they paused it halfway through to look at their neighbor watching Dune 2, and then
And you look at
it's really
Dune
funny.
too.
I think it was his husband, or her husband, was watching Dune 2, and she paused her film like halfway through and watched Dune 2, and by the time Dune 2 ended, the plane landed. So she just never, or I don't think it landed, but like she just gave up on the film. She never finished it.
You know
So I
what the
never knew the
movie's
conclusion.
called?
No, I have no clue what
We
it's
need
called.
to find it so Nicola can finish it.
We need to
Indian
find it.
film.
But by the
where
end, he does figure
guy
out that. But I do know
breaks
that
up.
he figures out that it was his fiance, and then he like reverses it. So it's like every time, everything the she would want him to do, it's like he was like, "Oh, I recommend getting him jealous by like inviting your ex over and dancing with him like suggestively in front of him." And then like he did that and got them to do that, but then was like completely unfazed by it because he planned it out. So like in reality, he was completely unfazed and like, "Oh, this isn't
Okay,
working at all."
I found it really easily.
What was it called? Show me.
I don't know how to pronounce it. TGMM.
You put it in general? Put it in
No.
general.
TGMM. Here's what it's called.
Let me see. I want to see if this is. I'll recommend it off of the people if the people are in the. Okay, let me look. Yes, it's this film. You're 100% right. It is.
We found it.
It is this film. It's really funny.
We'll
though.
be doing a watch party of that later this week.
I don't think we will.
along, we're gonna be watching The Lighthouse back to back with.
This is
with
the
this film.
craziest double feature we'll ever do.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah. Okay.
What else?
Let's
Nicola?
So some other stuff I saw on the plane just by looking at the people around me. Somebody was watching Challengers.
Good movie.
So I saw like the first minute and then like the last 3 minutes of the film.
So the best parts of the movie.
Yeah. Even then the movie looked boring as hell. I was not interested in it at all. It just looked kind of stupid.
You should watch Challengers and break the dispute.
Yeah. And then
It would be
wouldn't that
half.
not break the dispute?
It would
Yeah,
be
it
half.
would just tie it.
Tie it.
It
but,
would
like,
tie the dispute.
So
Like
then
most of the movies we watch.
the other thing they were watching was Wonka. Watching it that way did not make sense. They didn't have subtitles on, but every time I would look over at their screen, it would be fucking Timothy Chalamet talking to a giraffe, and then Timothy Chalamet and some girl that I think is like I don't know who the girl's supposed to be.
What is with you like naming actors poorly? Like you said Timothy Chalamet and you what you have earlier? You had William Dafoe earlier.
Is that not how you say their names? That's how you say their names?
Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet and Willem Dafoe.
Okay, Timothy Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet. And some girl drowning in fucking chocolate, but for an Oompa Loompa launches into a dance sequence, and it's like the original style orange Oompa Loompa that's also tiny, launches into like a dance sequence while flying and hits a shutoff valve that then saves them. And then it's all happening because these three businessmen are trying to take. From what I understood, I think it's because these three businessmen were trying to take over his empire.
Then you have the chocolate
like
mafia.
the Wonka empire. And then there's some fat guy that's also associated with them. And he goes outside, and I don't know what he gave them, but they start floating, and they're like all hooked onto each other, and they're attached to they're like hooked up, they're like holding onto the fountain for dear life. When the fat person starts expanding, and then he explodes, and that knocks the three people off into space. So they're presumably all dead now. And then Wonka ends the movie by saying, everybody gets some chocolate. So he takes out a piece of Wonka chocolate from his back pocket and breaks off a piece and gives it to everybody in the crowd. Though, based off the size of the pieces he was giving to everybody, he by far did not have enough chocolate for everybody. So I have no clue what he was doing.
I wonder if it fits into the whole the Snowpiercer, Wonka fear that Beck loves so much.
I also did not. I was also hoping that during that final scene he would be like, "Have some chocolate, some chocolate. Only Wonkas can make your mood skyrocket." I fucking hate that song. Holy shit. It's so bad. Okay. And
so are we done with the movies that Nicola kind of watched on an airplane?
The final thing I watched was Dune 2.
Again.
And this one had subtitles, so I could actually watch this just with
No,
no
but you've
sound.
memorized all the lines already.
Yeah. So yeah, because like I remember how everybody said it, and I like remember kind of the music that's going on. So I can basically just piece together exactly what happened. And holy shit, the movie is so peak. It does everything it tries to do so well, and it has so many little details that it's done perfectly, and that's why I think it's a goated film. That's why I think it's like almost a perfect film.
We all
Because, like,
agree, right, Aiden?
Some of the greatest films ever made are always because the attention to detail. And it's like the film was definitely made by people that are passionate about it, people that cared about it. They put so much time and effort into it. The lighting is great, the cinematography is great, the story is fucking amazing. I've always loved sci-fi films. I would honestly, this might be a hot take, but Dune 2 is the best sci-fi movie ever made.
I agree
That
with
is
that.
a hot take.
Because
I
what
can't
would
think of a
what would be
sci-fi
the
movie
runner-up?
better.
I would say the only runner-ups would be
Interstellar?
something like Star Trek.
Or Star Wars.
Is Interstellar really sci-fi?
I
guess,
don't know
yeah.
if you consider it
I
that
guess.
or not.
Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah, it would be like Star Wars or Star Trek would be like the runner-ups for it.
And those also feel
I-
like more like space operas.
Yeah, and those just like aren't.
Star Wars is a spaghetti western.
Yeah, and those just aren't on par with Dune 2. Dune 2 is just its own league. It's just, I feel like the advancements in technologies that we've had in recent times has allowed this film to portray a sci-fi genre in such an excellent way compared to like so many other films. And it's honestly, I really like it. It does everything so well. It was done with so much passion. It was done with so much intent. I think it was just done so well, and it's just by far my favorite movie.
I can't wait for a Dune
So-
Messiah when it comes out.
Yeah. And it's just a complete letdown. But yeah.
All right.
Also, I love the pacing of it. I love the slow burn into the fire freaking massive scale action scene in the final. Like the slow burn that then it's like you don't know when it happens, but like by the time it happens, like the big action,
It does.
it's like
It works
everything's
really
moving
well.
fast. It works. The pacing is fucking phenomenal. I love this film. Everything about this film is so nearly perfect, if not perfect. It is so good.
Yes,
So,
correct, Aiden?
now I have a
I think
question.
it's boring, but other than that, it's good.
I don't know how you found it boring though. I just don't
thought it
get
was
that.
Boring.
So
though.
much happens in it. I don't understand why. Like, what are you not? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's your
It's
choice.
coming from
Your
a man who
opinion.
thinks Ricky Stanicky is the best movie of the year.
Exactly.
No, it's actually
So,
Deadpool 3.
Now, here's something I was really disappointed about. I really wanted to watch these, but I didn't. How much do you guys know about the Cannonball Run?
Is that like the
Nothing.
steel
is-
ball run or different?
No, it kind of actually is like Steel Ball Run. It was a challenge set out basically right when cars were invented of how fast can you get across America.
That literally is Steel Ball Run.
Yes, exactly. But it's the Cannonball Run named after I forgot the guy's actual name, but he went by like Cannonball. And like he had like the record for a long time. And there's a big thing, and there's many movies that were made about this. I watched like a video documentary about like the history of it, and some of the films that like originally came out in like the 1970s and stuff, like documenting it. I think right now, if I remember correctly, the record was done during COVID. The car was disguised as a police vehicle. They like put a bunch of extra fuel tanks in the back and stuff, and they just like gunned it. And because the roads were empty because of COVID, they got like a ridiculously fast time. I think it was like an hour and 38 minutes across the entire country. What was it?
That's impossible.
No,
Well, it's north to south.
it was. Oh, sorry, I was wrong. You're right. It was 25 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah, an hour, dude. You're
I was wrong. I was thinking 1 day. It was 1 day.
Okay,
I just mixed up. I divided by.
that's still really impressive.
Yeah.
They had an average speed of 113 miles per hour.
That's pretty low.
Yeah. Well, because you have to also remember, it's a lot of it is about fuel efficiency, and a lot of it is also about. I mean, they had open roads, but like a lot of it is about fuel efficiency. About Cannonball Run is very much. And there's like many films that were made like during the original like major ones when it was like official events. Because there was a couple times when it was like official events, and the two main ones, the first one that came out that actually beat the original movie to the punch was something called, I think it was called the Gumball Rally. I could not find it for free, and I'm not gonna pirate it. I think it was like $10. I'm not paying for that.
Damn.
But I heard it's a good film. I heard it's a pretty good retelling. The second one is Cannonball ! I think that was like the original one that was like supposed to come out before, but the Gumball Rally was released before, and that was good. Other than that, there's some films that were made like inspired by Cannonball Run, but they have nothing to do with like the actual Cannonball Run. Like there's like I think they just go like completely fanatical, and there's like sometimes where like they have like an actual like monkey driving the car because like you have to remember this is like 1970s, 1980s Hollywood where there's like no regulation, they can do whatever they want. So they have like an actual ape driving the car, stuff like that, and they just have a bunch of like whimsy scenarios that like are not realistic at all, but it's like entertaining. I don't know. But I wanted to watch those, but I never got to. So then the only other things would be the 4 movies we watched.
But we're
on
doing
Tuesday.
those next week.
So
Wow.
those would be Borderlands, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Dee Dee, and It Ends With Us.
So
I
get
really
I'm
wanted
not
to
gonna-
talk
for those
about
next
that.
week.
I'm not going to go into depth about them, but I will briefly say something about each of them as a little sneak peek of what's going to happen
Oh.
next week.
Sneak
The
peek.
big breakdown thing we're gonna
Borderlands?
have.
Borderlands, believe the reviews.
It's
Hold
not
on
as bad. It's not as bad as they are leading it out to be.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't
it is.
think it's 0% Rotten Tomatoes.
I would say 30% is better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess.
not
Either way.
0.
Yeah, even I still gave it 2 stars. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
horrible. So I'm just gonna give like one liner for each thing. So Borderlands, believe the reviews. Harold and the Purple Crayon, unexpectedly peak. Dee Dee, fucking exceptional. And It Ends With Us. It ends with dangerously close to condoning rape. How about that?
I fucking disagree with that so much.
Bro, I have talked to like 5 people in my film comm class, and they who have actually watched it, and and read the book, and they all agree that both the book and the movie are dangerously close to condoning rape.
I talked to my sister who has read the book, and she hated the book.
Yeah,
She reads a lot of books. She hated the book and was like, "Yeah, no,
All right,
that book
I
should
guess
exist."
we're saving this
Yeah.
for next week.
I guess we're saying this argument,
But
powerhouse
first-
argument next week.
I guess I also have to give the recommendation.
No, Nicola.
He gets the
We
recommendation.
have to do
I get the
something
recommendation.
first.
The weather.
The weather.
Okay, but also
Uh,
JJK.
no
Oh,
way.
fuck.
It's at 60,
So
67.
guys,
okay, but,
over the summer.
but it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit in Belgrade right now.
Okay.
You're not in Belgrade anymore.
But
You just left.
guys, over the summer, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen. And let me
Jujutsu
Just
say
say
something.
JJK. Just say JJK.
I'll just say
JJK.
JJK. But the one thing is like I feel like each of us have a bond with each other. Like me and Aiden watch like fun animated shows. Me and Uri watch like dramas. But me and Nicola, we're bonded through anime. You know, we
Oh,
both
I
love
I really
wish
Ninja
this-
yeah, we watch-
Evangelion.
literally only.
We've
I'm
both
more
watched
bonded
My
through
Hero
anime than
Academia.
I'm more bonded through anime to you and Nicola than you are to him. What are you talking about? He hasn't even seen JJK. He's
What
only,
do you- I have. What do you
No, I
talking
thought you
about?
only read it. Never
Show.
mind. It's not his favorite
It is
show.
by far not my
It's
favorite
his
show.
favorite
no.
show in the history of television.
No.
It's the night
far
at
not
the
true.
Roxbury of television.
I've never said that, so you can't even say that.
Okay, so Nicola kept being like, "Hey, you should watch JJK. It's my favorite show." And
I mean, I did not say that. It's better than My Hero Academia. I
So-
can definitely say that.
I mean, we
Down.
all have our own.
He completely cut out. I
Nicholas is
cannot hear him.
You cut out
You
for
completely
all of
cut
them.
out.
We all have our favorite shows, which all happen to be anime. Mine
Nice.
is
Favorite
JoJo,
show is not
Nicola,
JJK.
Nicholas JJK.
Mine is not
Beck is My Hero
JJK.
Academia.
Uri's
And Uri's is
Steins
Steins
Okay,
Wait, what is Uri's? Wait, what is
Steins
Uri's?
Gate.
Steins
Gate.
Gate.
What
Uri
the fuck
fucking
is-
loves Steins Gate.
It's the best show of all
He
time.
talked about it
What the
so
fuck
much.
is Steins Gate?
Were you not? Oh, it was during the summer thing when he fell in love.
It
with
had to
there-
have been during
Oh.
this
Is
summer
this
thing.
when we?
Because I've never heard of Steins Gate.
He
Holy
fucking
shit.
loves. He has like a Steins Gate poster on his wall.
Yeah, it's
I'm
right in
surprised
front of the
Better Call
camera.
Saul is not his favorite.
No, it's Steins
It's
Gate.
Steins Gate.
Okay, so JJK, we got this guy. His name Yuji Itadori, and he eats like
That
a
is so
finger
cringe.
of like this ancient.
Hey, I have an
Sorcerer,
idea.
yeah?
How about you just give the series retrospective,
Yeah,
like we
I'm just
have
go
for
through each
all of
arc
the
and
movies.
say what I
and
want to say about him. So the intro
Okay.
arc, I think, starts out really slow. I mean, they're introducing so much stuff, so it's kind of works like that. But I mean, they do have a ton of like cool stuff happens that make it interesting. Like Yuji dies in episode 5. Gojo is still peak. And then
Yeah, bro
around-
would be a Gojo fanboy.
no, not my favorite character. In like episode 8, we get introduced to my favorite character, Toto. He's so peak. He has 2 character traits. He likes tall women with big asses, and he is best friends with Yuji. And he's the best character.
He's not just best friends. He's so schizophrenic that he thinks he's his brother.
So
Yeah.
basically, just the Beck and Nicola relationship.
Wow.
No, you completely oversimplified his fucking personality. Wait, what? You forgot the fact he has schizophrenia. He is completely addicted to like a
to an
K-pop
idol.
star.
Yeah, K-pop idol.
Like an idol, like to the point where in the middle of one battle he has a schizophrenic episode
where he does
where
like
he
the
imagines that
scene with the
where
idol.
he imagines he's fighting with the idol, and that's helps him win the battle.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just like completely mentally insane, and it's really fun to watch.
And he's like the strongest, and he's like the only character that's not a fucking fraud from that transfer school.
Yeah. And
Every other character from that school is like famously super fucking weak, and he's like the only one that's not.
That and Mechamaru. Mechamaru can
Yeah.
actually do shit.
That's literally just his heavenly pact. though.
Okay, yeah.
Heavily
Okay,
respects him.
and then like Yuji becomes friends with this really big film fan, but then this guy kills him, so Yuji's like, I need to kill this guy.
Oh yeah.
And that was not that really interesting of a plot line. But then we get into the Kyoto Sister School battle, which is like the 2 like sorcerer schools. They do like a competition between the 2 of them. And one of the schools is like, I don't care about this competition. I just want to kill Yuji Itadori. So it's basically just a fight
Who?
between these what?
Oh right, because
Yeah.
I forgot. About
Because he has like the evil sorcerer inside of him. So they're fighting, and it's really cool because you get to see
I
like
don't understand that guy's logic at all. Because bro at that point had only eaten 2 fingers.
yeah, they could easily take
Bro
him.
is literally doing 10. Bro is like, all right, let's kill this guy and solve 10% of the problem.
Yeah, okay, that is one question I do have later in the story. Okay, so that happens. And then eventually some spirits attack, and that's when Yuji and Toto have their big team up, and it's peak.
Not just any spirits; those are the disaster.
The
spirits.
disaster spirits. And then they fight some. It was like a fetus that was made by a woman having sex with a curse, and then
Okay,
people
then never
ate
mind.
them.
Those were not the disaster spirits.
People ate them, and then they become evil cursed spirits, and they have to fight them. That was a really weird 3-episode arc to end on, but
Not, I mean, kind of, not really. I guess
season
you just don't
2
think
is when
that-
it becomes peak. All right, first the hidden inventory arc. We basically get a backstory between Gojo and the villain, who's going to be important in season 2, and like they were best friends. And then the guy becomes really racist and starts calling all normal humans monkeys. So he leaves the school. Peak arc, and
that did not happen in that arc.
that it did.
That is not that arc.
It literally is.
Hidden inventory arc. They need to find a replacement for like the person that's like becomes the tree.
Yeah.
And they are both working together. They
This is because you want to talk
and
about your
then-
favorite character.
yeah. They but then the people that are like, oh, we have to set the tree free, so we can't let it reincarnate into the girl. They said we have to kill the girl, so they hire Toji, who's the dad of Megumi from season 1, and he's like, "Oh, I can kill him," because like his whole thing is he's a sorcerer killer, because his whole thing is he has a heavenly restriction, so he has no curse energy, but he's super physically strong and fast,
Yeah.
and he can use curse tools. So he does that. He's a peak character because of how like just like goated he is. He fucking wipes the floor with both of the main characters. Then the Gojo gets hacks and kills him, and then Ghetto leaves.
Yeah. Okay.
And Ghetto doesn't become racist then. He becomes racist in the movie.
No, he becomes racist at like the end of the arc in like one scene.
Not really. I mean, what happened?
It's kind of teasing what
Okay,
happened.
well,
in the
what
movie.
really happened was fucking Toji called him a monkey once, and then he was like, "There's a big
No,
issue
you lost.
with."
You lost
with-
to a monkey like me.
Yeah, but that's not really the main reason. The main reason is he was already like disillusioned with the cursed energy and like the whole world of Jujutsu Kaisen, because like you saw like one time he went to a village, like when he saved the two girls, he went to the village. They were locked into a cage because all the people thought they were making the evil curses when it was really spirits. The bro killed everybody in the town and saved the two girls, and that's why they help him in the movie, because like he basically became their adopted father. And part of that is that one time when he was really disillusioned, the second best character in the movie, in the show, Yuki, comes and is like, there's two ways to solve this world. Either get rid of called cursed energy or get rid of all non-cursed energy people. And bro was like, yeah, we should commit genocide.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he leaves the school and plans to commit genocide.
And I'll talk about the movie after season 2 because that's when I watched it. But now we're in the Shibuya incident. Now I've heard about the Shibuya incident like long before I started the show and like how good it was. So I was so excited to finally watch it. And it is just as peak as everyone was saying. It's like so beautifully animated. So much stuff happens. Like many main characters just die.
I do hope you did watch the Blu-ray version of all the fights when they actually gave the Mappa editors time to actually finish all the animations.
I watched it on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I don't know if they updated it.
Okay.
I think they did.
Oh wait, speaking of Blu-ray, hold on.
Oh yeah, no, wait, this is actually cool.
Yeah. But while he's getting that, because if you look at some of the stuff on the original fights, like they gave some of the best animators in the world 1 second to animate.
Ruby Volume 9 on Blu-ray.
Whoa!
Yeah. Why the fuck? Why?
Because they hate being liked by people, Nikola.
Actually, when I bought these, the guy at Barnes & Noble was like, "Oh, Ruby, that's a great series. Rest in peace, Monty Ohm." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just watched it with my friend over the summer."
Wait, and you wear the shirt? Well, if you had pulled up in the shirt, that would have been crazy.
No, but I was like, "Yeah, I watched it over the summer, and it was really good."
Wait, Beck works at a store?
No, it wasn't Beck. It's a guy. It was a guy.
A random Ruby fan.
Like, yeah, Ruby. Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, Ruby is good."
Hard to find those in the wild.
Bro planted him.
Well, I mean, probably really easy at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, true.
Look at John; he's an anime boy.
They did make him way too anime. Okay, but the Shibuya incident. Too much stuff happens, but all of its peak. There's just
too much stuff happens.
I mean, like so much stuff happens that I can't get into all of it.
Okay.
I don't want to be here for another 20 minutes explaining all the plot lines that happen in Shibuya.
Okay, then explain what you want to.
Okay, but there are two things that I thought were kind of weird. So, first thing is there's this big thing where Gojo, he's the strongest, so they need to lock him in this prison cube. And the rule of the prison cube is it needs to be within 10 meters of the person for a whole minute. So they're that's going to be impossible. But then the Suguru Geto comes out and he's like, "Hello, Gojo." And Gojo stands completely still for 1 minute and just gets caught in 2 seconds.
But part of that is kind of explained in JJK 0.
Yeah, because he thought he killed him.
Yeah.
But still, standing still for an entire minute.
Okay, think about this. Bro, you personally murdered Parky.
I kill Aiden.
You personally murdered Aiden Shoemaker. And then, 2 years later, he just shows up and says, "Yo, what's up?" I think you would also freeze for like a minute.
Okay. I just thought that was kind of stupid and a weird way for him to get caught.
Podcast.
Okay, and then the other thing where it's like they feed Yuji like 10 or 15 fingers. So now he is like 17 in his stomach or something. Or something like
You know
that.
what's really funny to me about that?
What?
He had asked what the evil ghetto he asked Kenjaku, how many fingers would I be in terms of Sukuna? And I think he was like, oh yeah, you'd be like 8 fingers. And then bro gave him then bro gave him all the fingers he's had. You know, me personally, I would have given him like 1 less finger than I was rated.
Yeah. But and then he like completely destroys Shibuya. It's animated insanely well, all that. But then now I'm thinking, okay, so Yuji has like 15 fingers in him. There are 5 fingers left out in the world. If they just kill Yuji, that means Sukuna can only get to a total of like a 5-finger power. So isn't it just better to kill him now?
Yeah, but at this point they also like care about Yuji.
Okay.
Another part of it is also like, I mean, part of it's that, and another part of it is also like so much happens right at like during Shibuya that there's like not enough time to kill him.
Got it.
I mean, did you not watch the ending scene? They literally ordered to get him.
Yeah, they ordered to kill him. Yeah. But I feel like he could like try to kill himself, and that'd be like good, you know?
No, because you have to understand he had the cog mentality at that point.
What?
Did you not? Bro was not paying attention at all during the Mahito fight.
Okay.
Oh my god, Beck.
But then it ends, and we get like a ending segment where it's like all these spirits have been released into the world, and this guy named Yuta, he wants to go kill Itadori.
He was like the original main character.
And we're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, that being said, yeah, if JJK0 didn't exist, everybody would think Yuta is a fucking asshole without like the following chapters like happening
Yeah.
in the
But I am actually really excited for season 3. So that's on a really good point where it kind
you
of
should
feels
probably
like
just read it.
I'm gonna wait for the anime. So it's like next year.
Was it?
It's something. They're announcing news for it in 2 weeks.
You know what I'm excited for?
What?
Steel Ball Run getting animated. It's not.
Okay, but now
The name is
JJK0.
copyrighted in China.
Now, one thing over the past couple weeks, I've been like trying to sometimes watch some of these like anime movie spin-offs that I've seen, and all of them are like so dumb and stupid because they have no connection to the main plot and nothing interesting happens. But that's why I love this
is like
movie.
a must-watch.
Yeah, because in this movie, so much like important stuff happens. Like we meet one of like the only like 6 special grade sorcerers in the entire world, and we get to see him. We get to see it's called like the Night of 4,000 Spirits, something like that. And we've like
Well, I don't know. I don't remember.
it was something like that, but it was like this event that was like teased as like a big thing with Toto, and I was really excited to see it. And then he was in it for like 2 seconds, which was kind of sad.
Oh, I did not remember. I did not realize that at all.
But it was a really good movie. It like actually shows important plot events. It gives a lot of
I think
depth.
my favorite part was when Gojo was racist.
Yeah. And then it just adds so much stuff, and it's important stuff. It changes a lot of context for season 2. And overall, it's just like a very fire movie. All right, that's JJK.
Okay.
One of the best
think I have my
animes.
recommendation.
What's your recommendation?
Great detour back
Alright.
that didn't like
So this
waste
is
the last
ending the
minutes.
episode.
So
I guess I have to give the recommendation to end the episode.
What is it?
I think you know what I'm gonna recommend.
Dune
The
2.
Lighthouse.
Why did everybody say a different thing?
La La Land.
Not at the
Was it Beck
Roxbury.
say? And you said
500 Days of Summer.
Lighthouse?
The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse?
Yeah, I was gonna say The Lighthouse.
All
Yeah.
right,
The
go
Lighthouse
watch
is a
The
really good film. I
Lighthouse.
recommend watching
Go
it.
watch The
And remember,
Lighthouse.
And
always
Always use
use
Celsius.
Celsius.
We'll see you next time.